everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Deanna and you're watching Orchid, and this is the last video of 2018, so I thought I would give you guys a quick final tour of my grow spaces and just chat about how my orchids have been going this year. So this last couple of months I have started adjusting my pH because as you guys know, up until about 2 weeks ago I have been using tap water. At the beginning of the year my tap water was actually not too bad. Parts per million were under 100 and my pH was like, I don't know, it was like 7.3 or something. Like, it really wasn't too bad, and after I put some fertilizer in, it brought the pH down to a reasonable level, but about, I don't know, I think it was like 8 or 9 months ago, my water quality like significantly deteriorated, and I never bothered measuring the pH again. I just didn't think to, and yeah, it turns out it was really quite high. The parts per million I already knew were very high, which is why I got an RO system installed a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, for about maybe 6 weeks since I came back from since the beginning of like November, I've been pH adjusting to between 5.5 and 6.5. I've just been sort of letting it swing between those two values, and yeah, I have noticed a big difference in growth. It has been further amplified by the use of the RO water, so my parts per million has come right down in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and so that, on top of that, so I've been getting new root growth, like tons of new root growth, and more vigor in growth in general with my pH adjustments, but the lowering of my parts per million with the RO water has decreased my root burn, and the plants just look so much happier. And so we're in my foul grow space, and these guys, I've probably noticed the biggest changes. Oh yeah, I got a fancy tripod for Christmas, which I have to figure out how to use. You think it'd be straightforward, but I don't know how to attach anything onto there yet. So, but this orchid in particular, so this is my Phalaenopsis Vivian, which I featured in my video about changing back from semi-hydro. So this has been in semi-hydro, and I was commenting that it took 6 months for that last leaf to develop, which I thought was too long, and I just had a few issues with semi-hydro, so planted it back into bark early November, and yeah, so it's been about a month. And look at this root growth. It is nuts, you guys. And that leaf has grown in a month. So even though the root system was pretty good in the semi-hydro, it has been going off since I repotted it. So combination of things, obviously. It's back into its organic media, and well, it also got benefits of the pH and the RO water, but all these light green leaves, roots, are new. So the darker ones were existing, but these are all fresh roots. Look at that. Just in like a matter of weeks. Unbelievable. So it's doing fantastic. And you know, the story is quite similar with all of them. They're all doing really well with this burst of new root growth, and like, look at that. Isn't that nuts? Just, yeah, they're going really well. So yeah, I've been so happy with these phals, and this is the only one left in semi-hydro, and I don't think I'm going to bother with semi-hydro. I was going to leave it as a bit of an experiment, but you know, it kind of really sucks having one plant in a different setup. I don't know, it kind of just gives me a headache. So yeah, it'll probably get switched back by the end of summer. But all those pretty red flowers on this red Toccata have fallen off. Well, and then it's just started bringing out one more bud. So yeah, hopefully it starts with its leaf production again soon. Oh, and I have to show you this. So I always put like one flowering orchid into my partner's bathroom, just because I don't know, his bathroom's always such a mess. So I just thought maybe a flower will make things look better, but because I never really go in there, like I always forget to water it, and so I rely on him just watering it with tap water. And so this one has not reaped the benefits of my pH adjustments and extra fertilizing care. Look at that pathetic little leaf that grew, and it's growing its next one there. So yeah, I've had to rescue it and bring it back down and replace it with another flower. So, and this is DTPS Belladonna, which I showed you in my last Orchids in Bloom video. She's a very sweet little flower there. Root system on this is also going fantastic. So yeah, very happy with the phals. And yeah, let's go to another grow space. So up here we've got my western facing upstairs grow space. And hi Frankie, how are you, darling? He's too cute, isn't he? Hello. Anyway, sorry, puppies. So we've got some dendrobiums, some, what do you call them, encyclias or prosthekias up here, and they've all been doing pretty well as well. See, the roots on these guys are good. That's just been recently repotted. Maxillaria. So yeah, all these guys are in active growth or finishing off their growths, and they're doing quite well. This area gets very warm, and I usually actually have a fan in that corner circulating a bit more breeze, but it does get a breeze through those windows as well. Got a few randoms on this shelf. Check out Phalaenopsis. Love that modeling, so pretty. A couple more dendrobiums, some paphs, more paphs down the bottom, and they are all doing really, really well. Even these guys, their roots have started going mad, really. Like they don't grow like the Phalaenopsis roots, obviously, but I have noticed that they are more vigorous as well. Yeah, you can see the sun coming in a little bit now onto them, but yeah, they've always been actually quite vigorous. I think I found a really good spot for them up here. It's really warm even through winter up here, so they just keep growing. And yeah, the modelled paths, they're super easy. I would go as far as to say they're probably, along with my phals, the easiest orchids. Like, they're so fuss free. I'm just talking about the modelled types. The green leaf types are a little bit different, but the modelled leaves, you know, they transition super easy when you repot them as well. So I thoroughly recommend these Mortier types and modelled leaf paths for beginners. And we've got my species phals up here, which are also doing fantastic. You can see this leaf also grew just in the last 6 weeks, also responded very well. I think these root systems are also doing very well. and it's my Violacea in bud, Phalaenopsis. A few of these I got in the middle of the year, and they came with some sort of deficiency already. Look, I always thought it was magnesium deficiency, so they're getting doses of magnesium, and you can see the new growth doesn't look too bad, but yeah, never perked up on those older leaves, unfortunately. This one as well. And again, the new growth looks quite okay. So yeah, hopefully they continue to do okay. Little Phalaenopsis with its first bud developing there. I cannot wait to see this one. I don't have a variety named on this. It just came as a Phalaenopsis, so yeah, I'm very, very interested to know what these flowers look like. So this is Phalaenopsis, also bringing out a new leaf there. It's had flowers on and off for the last few months, but it just blasted its last two buds. It has been pretty hot last week, so I think the heat wave just sort of did in those little buds, but there'll be more. It's yeah, it's been pretty freely flowering since I got it. And down here are some little seedling phals. So these are species phals, which I kind of got sick of waiting for them. I've had them for a while. I've had them for over a year, and yeah, I got impatient and I ended up buying some more mature ones. But this is a Bellina as well. And what's this? Phalaenopsis. So I've got two of each. And this is a Tetraspis here. This is a Phal gigantea there. That's another Path, which is in bud. Haven't seen this bloom yet, so that's exciting. Ooh, the carnivorous plants are doing okay too. A couple of them died pretty much as soon as I got them, so maybe that was just from transport, but look at all the fungus gnats it's eating for me. Isn't that brilliant? So yeah, I just planted them in sphagnum. I just water it with RO water, keep it moist, and that's all I do. Don't know if I'm doing the right or wrong thing. It's but it's eating, so that's good. And just one random one here, but I've got Erangis articulata here, which just grew this new leaf. So it's looking pretty good. Not too much excitement up here, but hopefully I will get some summer blooms on these species phals soon. And yeah, let's move on. So we're on my upstairs balcony now, and I will put a link up. So I've actually done a really recent video on moving my Cattleyas up here. So my Cattleyas are up here, but as well as that, I've recently moved my epidendrums and some of my dendrobiums, so most of the spatulata type dendrobiums and the Phalaenopsis type dendrobiums. So I've moved them all out here. This one's flowering, and these guys are all in active growth at the moment. You can hear and really feel that breeze, it's quite lovely. But you can see it does get a bit windy, so they're all in pretty solid pots, so they don't blow over. I did have one slight mishap, so it got a heavier pot as well. This guy fell, and yeah, you can see this leaf is sort of snapped when it fell. But yeah, they all continue to do really well. All their growths are coming along. So yeah, I think my Cattleyas are enjoying life up here. the growths are coming along really nicely. Look at this one. It's way bigger than the last one even. It's got a bit of colouring on it, which I'm not sure if it's a sign of magnesium deficiency. It's obviously getting a lot more in the way of direct sunlight in the mornings and afternoons. So I think it's normal, but you know, I've been dosing most of the plants up with a little bit of Epsom salts every week at the moment, just a little bit, just to top them up. There is magnesium in my fertilizer already, but yeah, just looking at their colour a little bit, I feel like they could use a little bit more. So yeah, these guys are, I think they're doing well. It's hard to say if there's any sort of major changes yet, but they seem to be enjoying it. I haven't got any sort of major burns or anything from the extra light, so I think they'll stay out here for the next few months, and hopefully I will get a couple of blooms by the end of the season. And I forgot to show you that I put a little chair out here. Well, a little. I've had this sitting in the garage for the last year. I've just been waiting for the perfect spot to put it, and yeah, we've finally put it up because I've finally started to use this balcony. But look, it is so comfy. And just quietly, it's too small for my partner. He's too tall and he keeps bumping his head at the top, but it's the perfect height for me, so it's kind of my chair, so I can come out here in the mornings, have my coffee, check out my plants, enjoy the breeze. Isn't it cool? It's a very quick look at my little ICU corner. ICU / palliative care. I think these two are on its way out. I don't think I can rescue them, but they're two paths that lost all their roots after a repot and are slowly and painfully dying. So that is a Paph Robelenii. Look at it. It's the saddest thing in the world. I should just throw it out. And this is a Spiceranium, which also lost all its roots, slowly dying. So I think the paths, once they lose all their roots, it is extremely difficult to bring them back. I put masses of sphagnum, I keep it moist, but yeah, they're just so slow. They don't yeah, they just don't recover. These two, I think they're going to pull through. This is a Laelia purpurata, which I thought would die, but it is hanging on for dear life, honestly. So it grew these roots. It's actually popping out a new growth there. But I must say, Laelia purpuratas do not like being repotted by me. Look, I'm sure everyone else has way more luck than I do, but I just repotted another Laelia purpurata a few weeks ago, and it too is not doing fantastic. I should have shown it to you, but maybe I'll make a video about it later. Anyway, but it's upstairs on my deck. It's also shriveling up a bit as well, but unlike this one, that one is definitely putting out some new roots from those growths, and they're coming into the media now, so hopefully it will establish itself sooner rather than later. So this phal I got last year by my partner for our anniversary, so it holds a little spot in my heart, and one of my first phals actually. And yeah, so when I don't know how these nurseries do it, but it was blooming, this beautiful big bloom, really large flowers and really large spike when we got it. And yeah, so the blooms fell and I repotted it, and it was so it was in a pot, and inside it was in a tiny little net pot which surrounded its base, and it was just completely rotten in there. So I don't know how these nurseries get these plants to bloom, but it was awful, and that entire root base was rotting, and it basically had like hardly any decent roots. It lost all its roots basically. They all just died off, and yeah, so it's been recuperating for the better part of this year. It's lost its base leaves, and I thought it was going to die, but it started pushing out this leaf, started to bring out a couple of roots, so there is hope yet for this one. Just keep some wet sphagnum in here and keep that loosely covering that new root. Yeah, fingers crossed. It is a very, very pretty flower. So, while we're on the subject of recovering plants, let me show you my Miltoniopsis orchids. So this is just another little corner of orchids, but I keep my Miltoniopsises inside in summer, just because it's usually air conditioned in here. It gets so hot outside, and yeah, you know, these guys absolutely 100% despise drying out, so they start to develop significant leaf tip dieback if they dry out. This new growth got stuck. You can see it sort of accordioned, got stuck, and I had to sort of pull this new leaf free. So yeah, it has continued to grow, but these leaves are dying off. Well, just the tips, I could probably just chop those off. Drying out also really messed up these leaves. They developed these terrible looking marks. It's probably infective, but it just hasn't spread. It's just like got dehydrated, developed these marks, and they didn't really spread. So yeah, it's just on so many leaves that I really didn't want to chop off like all the leaves. But yeah, it's still growing. You know, they seem okay actually when I actually keep the medium evenly moist. So yeah, it's just about being vigilant really. And yeah, you can see it used to be such a beautiful green plant, and yeah, it's not looking that way at all. This one as well, I've actually cut back a few of its leaf tip dieback, but yeah, this one got repotted, and I accidentally split the plant in two. Whoops. It's got some accordion leaves that have developed over the season, but it probably hasn't fared quite as badly as the other two, except for my accidental division. So yeah, these guys could be doing better, but to survive an Australian summer, I think I'll take it. I think they're doing okay and they'll make it. So finally we've got my outdoor grow space. It's my downstairs north facing back deck, which gets the winter light and used to get the summer morning light, but now we have that big fence which wasn't there before last year, and a house which also wasn't there last year, so we do not get fantastic light here in summer anymore. And yeah, so I moved my cat layers, but also, you know, like I wonder if it's not quite enough light for my oncidiums as well. A lot of them like were repotted this year, so I don't know, like they all seem to be doing well. They're all growing, they've all established root systems, so they're all doing pretty well, but maybe they've put their energy into establishing their root systems and getting themselves settled in their new homes, and have decided to do that instead of blooming. But also maybe it's just because I don't quite have enough light, but I'm not sure, because for half the year it gets fantastic light down here. So yeah, I'm just not sure. And I'm still a beginner in all of this. I've been growing for about, well, I got my first orchid maybe 2 years ago, but really like a year and a half I've been sort of getting into it, and in the last year I've like tripled my collection. So yeah, I'm not an expert by any means, and I never profess to be an expert, but yeah, I do still wonder when I don't get blooms, because a lot of these oncidiums have been repotted earlier this year, but they have finished off very decent sized bulbs. Most of them are bigger than their previous bulbs, but they haven't bloomed. They've just started like with their next growth straight away. So yeah, I don't know, but the summer solstice has finished. It's going to start getting lighter again. The sun's going to come back down from coming overhead and start coming down this way. We're going to start to get a little bit more direct light through here. So yeah, we'll see. I guess only time will tell. It is very difficult moving like half my collection upstairs to another grow area for half the year, but I guess people do that. But yeah, you would just think, bloody hell, like, it's Australia, why am I struggling with light? That's stupid. Anyway, but yeah, we'll go around and I'll review them. These are my seedlings. There's all different types, nothing too special with them. A couple of strugglers in there as well, but the catasetums really struggled this year with spider mites. This is my first year growing catasetums, and yeah, the spider mites they didn't really attack any other plants except for one of my kingianums, but they just keep coming back for more and more of the catasetum leaves. Look at that. This is all spider mite damage. Look at this leaf. They just graze on the undersides of the leaves. They damage the stomata. It messes with the plant's ability to regulate its hydration and water, because that's how they respirate, that's how they breathe. And so yeah, it results in probably more water loss than necessary, but also messes around with their photosynthesis abilities and stuff. So yeah, not great, but otherwise the other seedlings are doing okay. I've got the Gongora Galliata, which finished flowering. So all my Gongoras and Stanhopeias are happily growing their new growths. This is a Stanhopeia Negro Violacea. Just doing well, I think. Negro Violacea, yep. Bulbophyllum, my only Bulbophyllum, Elizabeth Ann Buckleberry, which I repotted 2 months ago maybe. When was that? End of October. And it's doing really well, actually. Yeah, just keep it constantly moist. It's finished off 1, 2, 3 growths there. Yeah. It's surprisingly doing very well. You can see the spider mite damage. This is all spider mite damage on these catasetum leaves. Really devastating. So next year I'm going to have to find a different spot for them, definitely, because yeah, it just really sets them back. This is my Maxillaria tenuifolia, and it's only very little, but I've got something here, and I was wondering if maybe you guys might know if that's a flower spike or not, because it's different to the growths. The growths sort of come up along from the base and grow up like this. This is a new growth here coming up between the leaves, but this is different. So yeah, maybe a flower. I haven't had a flower from this plant before, so it's meant to smell like coconuts. Sedaria japonica. Got my Bavs all doing pretty well. And I do have a few zygopetalums. I never talk about them because never flowered them, but they're all growing. They're doing okay. They do develop these black marks though, which are really quite unsightly. You can see it, this one. See all these black marks. Look, I don't think people debate whether it's bacterial or from, you know, water sitting on the leaves or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. It's a trait of the zygopetalums, but whatever it is, it does not seem to really be hurting the plant. So these marks develop, and yet they're extremely unattractive, but I don't think this plant is any worse for the wear for it. It's still sort of growing, and it still seems pretty happy. It's still growing nice big roots, so yeah, unsightly, looks terrible, but not too worried. And this is my Phalaenopsis, which has finally finished its flowers. A couple of oncidiums over here. Oh, I have to show you guys my cherry baby. Hang on, let me take it out. So this plant is so vigorous. So I transplanted it in May, but I've had it for a good year at least, and I got it in flower, in spike, sorry. So it's growing this new root system in this pot. It does seem very happy. It's got several, one, two, oh, I won't count them, but it's got lots of new growths coming up, as you can see. So yeah, it's probably one of my favorite orchids, and arguably my absolute favorite fragrance. Like, hands down, it just smells like chocolate. Like, what's not to love? But along with that, it just produces so many flowers on each spike. It produces multiple bloom spikes. But you know what? If there's a prayer out there for getting orchid blooms, say them for my cherry baby, because if there's a plant that I want to bloom this season, it is the cherry baby. And over here we've got a couple more Stanhopias. They're all bringing out new growths. I still haven't had any blooms from my Stanhopias. There's another one over there as well. But they're growing well. This is my other Gongora, which does have a flower spike. So yeah, I would say the Gongoras are pretty easy considering I've gotten them to flower. Got, oh, this twinkle. So this is a twinkle that I've had in flower earlier this year, and it has like 6 established bulbs, and I think it's growing like 8 new growths. Such a vigorous plant as well as some of these oncidiums. Yeah, they may take forever to grow their spikes and flower, but they're really worth it. And yeah, I've just got lots of oncidiums and other various plants down here. A few other seedlings, a couple of neophoneicias. More oncidiums. Got a few other green leaf paphs up here. All doing really well. So all my paphs are doing really well except for the 2 that are, well, dying inside. But the rest of them are doing fantastic. A few bigger oncidiums down here as well. Let's have a really quick look at the Vandas. Last week I planted them all, or most of them, in some rock. So they're all in a bit of lava rock now. I've potted them all in there because, guys, I have not been keeping up with the watering this summer. Because the rock's so heavy, I've put leca beads in as well. But yeah, I was watering them once a day, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, so they just aren't doing that well. And yeah, I needed to figure out a way to give them more hydration without actually having to completely pot them up. So put this rock in as a bit of a medium. This is the only one that the root system on this is so nice, but I just didn't want to take it out and repot it. Although now's probably a good time. But it just seems like such a task, so maybe I should do it soon. If I'm going to do it, I really want to put it into one of these baskets. But yeah, just you can imagine how many roots I might have to break. So especially this, these two Rhynchostyluses, you can see they're quite dehydrated. You can see their leaves are quite wrinkly. They're losing their bottom leaves and stuff. So these guys were potted in bark that was definitely time to get rid of. Like, it was all disintegrating, so it needed to come out. It needed to be repotted, but I just left them bare root. And yeah, they've, like, look, they're just struggling a bit. So yeah, especially these guys, hopefully they enjoy being in a little bit in something that stays a little bit wetter for longer. They're still growing these roots, but yeah, hopefully they start to perk up a bit. And finally, got a couple of my Kingianums out here. This is a pink one, this is an alba one. This one had spider mites, which I think I've finally gotten rid of. But it's got some new growths coming up. Can you see? There we go. A couple of growths are all coming up there. I think it's got about 5 new growths. So this Kingianum just developed the one growth, but it's very good size growth, which is good. But these guys flower off like their old canes as well, so yeah, one growth is okay. It'll still continue to flower from the older canes as well. And I've just repotted my Telomneas in these basket pots, and my Sarcochilus, which are also in the scoria. And yeah, the frags are doing good actually. They're doing quite well. I just keep them in some water. You can see they're growing some nice roots there. And I'll put a link up to my frag introduction as well from earlier this year. But yeah, they're all doing quite well actually. This is the one that I changed back, which I tried in semi-hydro for a month and switched back because it stalled, but it's just started to grow that growth up again. So, oh, dripping everywhere. And Mr. Speciosum from my last video is doing okay. He's got ants. Very annoying, these ants. Another pest there that likes to eat Speciosum canes. But yeah, he's getting a bit more sun. You can see a bit of like colour on there from the extra sun that it's been getting out here. But yeah, he's doing okay, I think. It's only been a week or so. Alright everyone, well, if you stayed till the end of this video, great work, because it's probably by far the longest video I've ever made. But hey, you know what, like, it's great to wrap up 2018 with a bit of a summary, and it's been an absolute pleasure making these videos. You know, I do it just for the fun of it. It's like a little bit of a journal for me, but completely a hobby for me. Orchid growing is a passion. Making these videos is a hobby. You know, getting into making videos, editing videos, I absolutely love it. I spend way more time on it than I should. But yeah, it's been a huge year. It's been great orchid wise. We've lost a beautiful family member, my little Sebastian. He was such a sweet dog, but we've gained this little troublemaker. Frankie, come here, come here. And he is a sweetheart, aren't you, buddy? He's a little piggy. So yeah, it's been wonderful, and I've met some amazing people in the YouTube community. So guys, yeah, thank you so much for all your support and for joining me on this little orchid adventure in 2018. I hope you come join me in 2019. I want to thank all the other YouTubers that I get so much inspiration and advice from as well, and I hope you all have a really fantastic 2019. So Happy New Year, guys. I will see you next year. Bye.